Remember to like and subscribe to keep up to date with new content. The athlete. I've always been adaptable. Physically, not so much with age, but adaptability in settings has never been an issue. My SDBX fought me on a custody agreement that was 50-50. One that I agreed to. Our original agreement was for a 65-35 split, giving him every other weekend and a few dinner-time visits in between. This should have sufficed for someone who has never been an involved father. He apparently now believes he is super dad and tends to take command. This would have been beneficial years ago, but it's better late than never. He called me the other day to say he'll be taking up the kids for 2 overnights this week. He is only meant to have the kids for 2 days one week and 5 days the following. I inform him he can have the kids with him during the weekend as well. This is when he informs me that he has multiple professional trips as well as a personal trip to see his girlfriend coming up and that he requires me to be flexible with the visits. Flexible? I assumed you were the I need to see my kids more type of father. The father who required more time with his children and less time and child support for me. What happened to that guy? He has had the kids for a total of 8 nights in April. Total. And when I say this isn't a 50-50 situation, I'm not kidding. I'm the evil guy, and I need to be considerate of his career and personal life. Excuse me, but I have a job and a personal life. I don't have a personal life, but I aim to have one soon. Why do I have to be flexible for you when you aren't? I told him I offered him a 65-35 split that would give him more free time for work/pleasure, but he refused. He claimed I was bullying him into signing the deal and that he was unhappy with the amount of time he'd have with the kids. Touched that he wanted more time with the kids, I agreed to it, and now that it's written in stone, I have to have the kids more and earn less child support because you can't keep up with the arrangement you wanted? In all honesty, I don't think it was about seeing his kids, it was about not giving me what I asked for. He claims that I rely too heavily on our agreement and that it is only a guideline, we don't have to live and die by it. But, I believe we do. It's a legal document pertaining to our children and possessions. Will you quit paying child support if we don't live and die by it? Or maybe you decide you want something I have? Isn't it just a piece of paper? For a man who had a double life, had an affair, has a girlfriend, and desired to leave this house, he doesn't appear to want to face the realities of divorce. So, what are my choices if he doesn't bring the kids for his 50-50 visits? Restart this process with a new agreement? Bring him to court? I believe my best option is to refuse to be flexible, and if the numbers don't match up, we'll go back to court. I don't see any other way. Transparency. Mother's Day happened this past weekend. It was an interesting day this year, but it was also oddly more fun than prior years. My SDBX has been taking the kids on the schedule I devised with no problems so far. He has yet to pay me any child support, but I will give him until the 15th before I create a scene. He had the boys throughout the weekend, but he returned them to me on Sunday so I could spend the day with them. I asked him if he had called his grandmother while he was here. His grandma is the only member of his family with whom he communicates, aside from his equally unfaithful father. He stated that he spoke with her and informed her that we had separated. I was taken aback. This was significant. I knew it would be difficult to tell her, and that the news would cause her to have a heart attack. He stated she was upset and told me about their chat. He said he didn't tell her why we split, just that we did. While not entirely accurate, I was relieved to see him take this difficult step. Now fast forward a few hours. His mother contacts me. Her and I have a fantastic relationship, but my STBX holds a grudge from the past and refuses to speak to her. I had inquired whether she had got the news from her mother. She was perplexed. It comes out that everything was a lie. He never told his grandmother about it. He never had the chat he claimed to have had. I also chat with his sister, and after 13 years together, I discover that his strategy is to go away with a girl who will give me more attention. She informed me that before me, he lied to his 4-year girlfriend that he was going to spend time with his father, but instead went away for the weekend with another girl. Isn't that some trash? My lawyer will serve him with divorce papers the following week. He became enraged when I told him for the second time that I was hiring a lawyer to handle the paperwork, and did not want us to do it ourselves. He accused me of intending to do anything illegal. No, sir. You've already been shady enough for both of us. When I informed him that I had already discussed this with him and that I had obtained quotes from lawyers, he accused me of not being transparent. Are you kidding me? He will always be the victim, never being wrong or right. The dissection. My SDBX had the kids from Friday to Saturday, and then again from Monday to Wednesday. I went to pick them up after work today, and that's when the breakdown occurred. My SDBX began to sob. He had it. Apparently, our children have only asked to go home for the previous 3 days. They wailed and kept asking, how long? He tried to convince them that this was also their home, but they refused. Part of me is now upset. It must be incredibly painful to have your children reject you. On the other hand, he's never been the dad he is now. He drives them around, plays with them, reads to them, bathes them, and so on. I don't think he realizes that you can't just turn a switch and have these youngsters gravitate towards you. I know he's trying, and I appreciate it, but it's too late. I've tried to be supportive and realize how essential having a father is to them, but I honestly don't believe they want him. Again, because they are both under the age of 10 and young, they do not fully comprehend. On the way home, my oldest inquired whether they could ever return. Both children objected when I emphasized that we are both parents, that we love them, and that we want to spend equal time with them. My SDBX, I believe, recognizes that this is too little, too late. He is remorseful. I'm not sure how to make this situation better for everyone, but it's not my problem to solve. I proposed a 35-65 split, but he refused, claiming that it would not provide enough time with the children. My offer of a divorce was based on what I thought our children could handle, not on my desire for more. He was just interested in winning and convincing me to accept a 50-50 share. You have won. It's finally here. How's that going for you? Perhaps if you had considered what was best for them rather than defeating me, things would have turned out differently. A situation in the summer. I didn't contact him for a while after his breakdown. I knew he needed time to calm down, and I was concerned that if I talked to him for any reason, he would become upset with me or, worse, confide in me. I desired neither. When I eventually needed to talk to him, he said, "We need to decide out what we're going to do this summer." What exactly are we doing? We're not doing anything. I was perplexed. He informed me that he will be unable to care for the children during the summer while working. He described himself as just hanging on by a thread right now. This isn't a problem we've had in the past because I'm a teacher and off all summer, so I'm completely responsible for the kids throughout the summer. I don't think he considered the summer when he sought 50-50 physical custody. So he suggested enrolling the children in a camp when he had them. A camp? So you want to put our kids in a camp from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the days you have them? What does it mean to spend time with them? So I suggested that we do the 35-65 split for July and August, and he may take the kids on weekends and see them in the evenings whenever he wants. He was enraged. With you, it's always about custody, he explained. Waiting. This isn't a custody dispute. You just stated that you can't deal with them. I'm willing to forego my first genuine summer vacation in order to aid you, and I'm the bad guy here? Make sense of this. He claims that the children require socialization. He has never worried if the children socialized in the last 9 years, but now it's a major deal? This was the dad who rolled his eyes and whined about having to attend a 3-hour-long children's birthday celebration. As a result, I left it alone. Allow him to mull it over for a while. To be proactive, I sent him information on summer camps, along with price lists, a few days later. Camp would cost between $250 and $350 per week. The camps I found are only for 5 weeks, leaving him without childcare for the majority of August. How does this assist? How does this relate to spending time with the kids? Putting our children in a costly weekly camp, during COVID, just so you can feed them, bathe them, and put them to bed isn't good for them or your connection with them. My family owns a seaside cottage. I'll be down there with the kids for the majority of the summer. When I go home, we have guests to visit, and at least we have a yard for the kids to play in. The children will be happy, we'll socialize with family and friends, and will be safer with me than in a camp. Finally, he has yet to pay me child support for April and May. He moved out in March, took the kids for 8 overnights in April, it should have been 15, and has yet to pay me for the months of April and May. But he can spend about $1,300 in camp fees merely to have custody, right? Even more evidence that his activities are motivated by a desire to outdo me rather than what is best for the children. Make this make sense once more. Obtain the papers, obtain the papers. I'm officially in the judicial system, complete with a docket number. It's on its way to being official, and I couldn't be happier. My STBX does not appear to be overjoyed. He flew over to her state last weekend to attend a family wedding as her guest. I'm glad they're doing this as a pair because if they're happy, he'll move, and the farther away he is, the better. When he returned, he was ecstatic about the divorce. He wanted to know when the lawyer would bring him documents to sign and what the timeline was. He was on cloud nine after his vacation and wanted to speed up the procedure. The day he had his documents notarized was also the day I was supposed to pick up the kids from him. When I arrived, he was short with me. I could see he was about to have a panic attack. He hurried us away and subsequently texted me, saying that he was in the early stages of a panic attack. But why is that? He expressed his frustration with me. He was exhausted with the kids, work, managing a family, and maintaining a social life. Wow. This sounds strangely familiar. This has been my story for the last 10 years. This was the reason I didn't go on date nights as frequently as he did. Part of me felt horrible because I understood how that feels. But another part of me reveled in his struggle and awareness that that was my life and the reason for his adultery. So, what should I do? After a brief moment of thought, I exclaimed, "Wow, that stinks. This weekend, I'm taking the kids to the beach. See you when you pick them up on Monday." I resolved to repay him for his 10 years of assistance. If you know what movie the title of this piece is from, you'll know that you have to do what your heart tells you to do.